Amewule-led lawmakers seems not to give up in its course of holding on to leadership and decision-making of the House. This is as the factional Speaker Martins Amewule and other lawmakers met despite a court order not to preside over the House. At this plenary, the lawmakers move a motion of urgent public interest condemning the demolition of the Assembly. They say the event of December 14, 2023 has never happened in the history of democracy in Rivers State.
On behalf of the undersigned honorable members, I rise to move this motion of urgent public interest to condemn the demolition of the Rivers State House of Assembly by Sir Similaye Fubara, Governor of Rivers State. That on the 18th of December 2023, Sir Similaye Fubara, Governor of Rivers State, commenced the heartless demolition of the Rivers State House of Assembly complex without the approval and knowledge of the Rivers State House of Assembly. I'm convinced that the motive of this demolition is to pave way for the governor to accuse Resign to have a meeting with his friend in the government house and make it impossible for proper investigation of the polling of the Kanu chamber and prevention of the legitimate sitting of this house.
Also, member representing Akukutore Constituency 1 in the Rivers State House of Assembly presented a report by the Joint Committee of Public Accounts and Finance Committee.
The committee sat and recommended that this fund management bill be passed. Mr. Speaker, members of the committee that signed the bill, Honorable Mido Jack, Honorable Afoji Igwe, Honorable Peter Abe, Honorable Fubaras Budget, Honorable Justina Meji.
My committee and I commend the committee for the wonderful work they have done. I urge my colleagues that we don't have any time to waste that to do the needful for passage of the same. The House has thereby resolved as follows. 1. To condemn the brazen and unlawful and heartless demolition of the Rivers State House Assembly complex by Sir Similaye Fubara, Governor of Rivers State. 2. To draw the attention of the federal government of Nigeria, the Inspector General of Police, the international community, and particularly the United Nations, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, and other well-known democracies to the constant attack by the governor on the legislature of Rivers State and our asset democracy. 3. Write to the United Nations and governments of the United Kingdom and the United States on the actions of the governor against the legislature. Convert the auditorium of Rivers State Assembly quarters as our own chamber.
Amewule says the lawmakers will do everything possible to ensure that caretaker committee chairmen do not preside over local government in Rivers State.
You said it yesterday that it just started. We're keeping scores. Now we see here that 4 more Rivers commissioners, they resigned from office. We read yesterday that Fubara had demolished the assembly complex. And we are watching the crisis in Rivers State. If it's not nip in the bud, it might turn to something else. It's getting interesting every day.
I mean, so I'm counting scores. I think now, if I'm to count scores, I think I was counting 5-3 before. Now it's 5-4. You know, because it was just only yesterday I was asking one of a reporter on another platform I was, that has the governor taken a decision yet on some of the cabinet members that are loyalists of Wike? And they said, no, like I knew something was going to happen about that. Because now, you know, in a game of chess, when it's all or nothing, when you've got nothing to lose, now you start to play your cards. So like I knew it, as I said it in the morning, in the afternoon, that the commissioners started to leave, started to turn in their resignation. So a purge is going on. So 2 things might have been involved. Either the governor might have urged them to leave, or they will have gotten instructions from Wike, you know, to be able to leave. So once the purge is even Stevens now, because in a game of power chess like this, so there are 3 phases to a game of power chess.
Yeah.
Number 1, the deceit stage. The deceit stage means that the 2 people are fighting for power, but they are deceiving others and they're acting like everything is right. You know, one person keeps managing the other person, but they know they are deceiving themselves. So they passed that stage long ago. The deceit stage ended when, you know, they tried to make an attempt at impeachment at Fubara and he fought back. making that move and all of that, and that rancor that happened at the State House of Assembly and the bombing and all of that, that was the deceit stage. So after the deceit stage, the second stage mostly is really the alignment stage. Now you've seen those that are aligned with Wike, they've pitched their tent. You see that those that are aligned with Fubara, they've pitched their tent. So probably there's a purge in the state cabinet. The third stage normally is the strike and counter-strike stage. So that third stage too has started. There have been strikes and counter-strikes, and it will keep going on and on. So I think the next stage now, I predict that what will happen next probably in my analysis will be that those 27 lawmakers are going to try to push their luck and try to, one, go back to courts, not get an injunction nullifying this, what's it called? This court injunction, ex parte motion that Fubara is acting on, that I assigned the budget on. And once they clear that out, make a move to impeach him. And then Fubara will also counteract. So they will cancel each other out. If Fubara survives the impeachment, then he can go all out and go for the jugglers. So part of the jugglers and counteraction will be fighting dirty. So probably very soon, I see a lot of, frontal attacks like, I'm sure, I just hope Wike has the CFO of his house in Port Harcourt, because if anything is missing in those papers, everything might be used against him at this point in time. So it will get dirtier in the coming days. So I think we've passed all of the stage of the deceit stage, the alignment stage. All of this, you are seeing this resignation now at the alignment stage. I'm sure they've called the alignment stage those to come to arms and say, you know what, if you are with Wike, stand with, if you are with Fubara, stand with Fubara. Then it's going to be all out. Fubara definitely will get his own replacement. And in fact, like I said, the 27 had their own plenary yesterday in another area in Port Harcourt, where they condemned the activities of the governor and all of that. So probably once they can get courts to be able to counteract the ex parte, they will move to impeach him. So probably next week or before the end of the year, or early next year, there are going to be moves to impeach Fubara. If he survives, then he can.
On what offense? For demolishing the building, or what did he do that he wants to impeach him?
I mean, all the governors that have been impeached in Nigeria, if you look back as a result of his squabble, there's never really been any offense. They would just cook up anything. I mean, the deputy governor they were trying to impeach, what was his offense? They would just put up trumped-up charges against you. That's what they will normally do. So it's never been an offense. It's about their own political expedience. And that's why I keep telling Nigerians, don't die in the war of these politicians. It's about them in the end. It's never about an offense. Fubaras don't know wrong now, but it's never about an offense. It's about how they fight their fights. So...
and Fubara has signed the 800 billion naira budget into law. He's did it in front of the 4 people. It seems to be... I
mean, I'm happy that Fubara can get on with governance, because that's what matters. I saw the budget. What really matters is how the Rivers people can get some projects working for them and all of that. I think that should be the major priority here. So, let's see how it pans out. But the legality of this, we've had lawyers to argue back and forth. Some have said, yes, since the court has given the affirmation to this group of people, that is legal and all of that. But in coming days, we'll see more legal fireworks. So, and there are going to be three battlegrounds. Number 1, the physical battleground. Number 2, the legal battleground. And 3, the court of public opinion battleground. As we speak today, the court of opinion battleground is shifting towards Fubara because he's the underdog in the fight, and a lot of people are feeling like, Wike's own is too much. But hey, the thing also is, if Wike wins in the court, what happens to Fubara? So there are many dynamics to this fight, but we'll see how it pans out. It's interesting times.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting, like a football match. The way you are analyzing it, it's quite interesting. In all of this fight, it's the people that will suffer.
It's game theory. It's game theory. It's a fight for supremacy. And see, Wike and Fubara is not going to be the first one. People have gone through this in the past. Amechi fought his own. At some point, even Wike said fought his own. So it's a battle of supremacy. And at the 2019 election, Wike was still fighting the battle of supremacy in Rivers State with Amechi. You saw what happened, how the military was everywhere, was highly militarized. The killings that happened in the 2019 governorship election. But it was after the election that Wike consolidated. And you will see that most of his consolidation was now full-fledged after that he won that 2019 election. And that's why in the part of consolidation, he was doing everything possible to be able to consolidate even with his party and gaining favor with his party. That was when he singularly decided to host the party primaries of the PDP then in Port Harcourt, to show that he cares for the party and all of that. All of that were things that he did on the line of consolidating power then. But now the tables are turning against him. So it's always a normal struggle if you read game theory properly.
People would say that if Fubara is playing the victim, he should stop it. Because he said if he had bought the form for the primaries of the PDP on his own, he wouldn't have been he wouldn't have been able to win the election. That there were things that they agreed. Why is he going against it? Another school of thought is saying that if you dash somebody, you dash somebody goats. Why are you keeping the rope? You give them goats. Why they keep the rope? So
so that's a valid argument. But some other people too will counteract the argument by saying people too put Wike in there. So Wike cannot play God. Because we cannot exonerate the emergence of Wike from the likes of the wife of former President Goodluck Jonathan that spoke for him then. So there were people that supported him. So if you are now saying, oh, Fubara came through his route, yes, we admit that. But Wike too came through other people's routes. So in game theory, how you enter the game does not matter. The question is it a zero-sum game? Have you won the game? Or is it even Stevens? That's just it. So we can now say, yeah, I bought you and I did that and everything and all of that. People took and claimed that he facilitated Wike getting being governor. So that's just it. But most importantly, the sad part for me is that the people are the ones that are suffering in all of this, as these people are doing their shenanigans. I just hope this does not dampen the much needed developments that needs to come to the Garden City. River State was a beautiful place. At some point it was called the Garden City because people actually had a lot of lush gardens. That was why it was called the Garden City. The early colonialists that had investments there had big gardens. You had companies, you had the likes. But all of that have been frittered away because of unemployment now to violence, to killings and cult boys and things like that. So we need to bring River State back to its former glory.
Yes, sir. And they need to end this crisis so that the countries don't take sides, and before you see, they start killing each other and it becomes something else in Rivers. Now,
yes,
yeah. INEC is rejecting the 40 billion naira allocation. They rejected that it will not be enough for the activities they have to do.
I mean, INEC should first justify why, with all the amounts they spent on INEC the first time, about $1 billion as I then 360 billion or thereabouts, it couldn't hold an elections that were devoid of rancor. All the promises failed. Till today, INEC has not justified to us what happened, what caused the technical glitch at only the presidential election. Because there were two elections that day. There were Senate elections, House of Reps and presidential election. Those other ones did not have technical glitch. You could upload results, but only the presidential election, technical glitch happened. So INEC has not been able to justify monies hitherto spent. Now they are talking about all of this. I know very soon they are going to begin the process again of registration of new voters and everything. But they have not been able to solve the logistical nightmare that comes with PVC. I mean, permanent voters card that a lot of people cannot get. So there are many challenges INEC needs to fix and look internally. I think what I would even call for is a total overhaul of INEC. INEC has shown too many times a lack of capacity to be able to do its work. The second story of kidnappers returning, I mean, with the state of the economy, you would only expect that. It's even more pervasive. Like you have kidnapping everywhere, you have killings everywhere and all of that. The sake of insecurity generally has returned in Nigeria because of the poor state of the economy. And that's why we keep begging the government to stand in the gap and do what is right for the people. And it's just a sad one. And it's also the Ember month, so we have to be careful.
The president is saying that having Akpabio, Abbas at my side as NAS leaders is enough to make him succeed.
I mean, yeah, it's enough to make him succeed because Mr. Akpabio has shown that they're a copy and paste legislature, not even rubber stamp. You see, and these are the things we keep talking. We must have a truly independent National Assembly. We must have an assembly that is truly independent. Mr. Akpabio is going around celebrating his birthday where people are suffering, where there's a lot of pain in the land. And the president is saying he's happy having it by his side because it's rubber stamp. We must have a National Assembly that holds the government accountable. And we must do right by the people. So all of that is saying, how does he help the people? How does he help the people? And you see, in the country where you're having too much chummy relationship between the National Assembly and the presidency, then it's suspect. And you really ask what's going on there. So for me, I would want something that will benefit the people more. And hey, the National Assembly, they too have been corporate. Although we praise them for donating money to the victims in Kaduna for donating their salaries, but they too also collected 160 million to buy cars. And recently I was seeing a session where I was just laughing. Senator Adams Oshiomhole was attacking the Minister of Trade. Anyway, his point was good, that most of the procurement they were making as regards cars were the Nigerian-made cars. I like that. But somebody should ask Senator Oshiomhole that the cars that the lawmakers were buying, were they Nigerian-made cars? So charity too must begin at home. If you want to, catch trips, like they say in local parlance with the trade minister, how about you, the senators? They too must be made to buy cars. So, I mean, they must be made to buy Nigerian-made cars. So this frolicking, President Tinubu saying, I'm happy because, once I have a bag by my, it's because they are rubber stamps. We need people that can hold the executive accountable. Not just oversight, but real scrutiny.
Thank you very much, Rufus. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.